Oh my God. How far out of his way this man goes, just have dinner with me. Oh, he is so sweet. I'm just like, I was thrilled to see him. Just sort of have a normal Thursday night dinner. Is it a problem at work? When he shows up?
No, the bliss.
No, actually, I'm doing my
There's
job.
some suspicion.
No, I'm doing my job. I'm showing, it's like I'm having fun at work. It's good. I signed up for the cornhole challenge. They're doing this really corny thing at work.
The cornhole challenge?
It's called the cornhole challenge. They have this cornhole contest. It's the, the square boards with the hole in it. You take bean bags and you toss it. And you're supposed to like get into teams. And all these guys around me, they're shooting me down in flames, man. You have to have a team. You have to have somebody else. And I was like, I tried the cornhole thing. I'd never done it before. And I put the first one right in the hole. I was like, oh, I got to do this. So
Maybe that's the way to enlighten.
cornhole.
You gotta
Bung holes, maybe.
You gotta
Cornhole's
play
never
cornhole.
Let's do bung hole enlightenment. If that doesn't work, we'll try cornholes.
Cornhole wizard. Has to be a twist.
It's good to have so much flexibility.
Yes.
Oh my God. Never been turned down by so many men in my life.
Yeah.
Trying to get a partner for this cornhole thing.
I didn't think you were up to it, eh?
They weren't up to it. They're like, no, we're not going to smile. We're not going to have fun. Damn it. You're laying off people. It sucks here. I won't have any fun. I don't care. Have some fun.
Was this your idea?
Oh, no, I'm too lazy to
For
do
some
that.
reason, I assumed that the reason that they didn't want to be on your team because that they would lose. Like, oh, you're not a good thrower. I didn't picture it along. Whatever.
I told them I trained.
You know, like, oh no, she's a girl. I don't want to be on her thing.
I told them I put the first cornhole in, and then I got the second one stayed on the board. I was like an ace.
Zen in the art of cornhole.
If the Zen guys are doing cornhole enlightenment, but we're definitely doing bunghole enlightenment.
Take the quickest route.
Yeah, sign me up.
You could say that ordinary consciousness is frequently punctuated by familiarity. And familiarity is the nature of orientation to present experience. You could say we drop out of having a vital and interesting relationship with present experience because we're dwelling in conformity, predictability. We have an orientation that's somehow comfortable, familiar to us. And that's the realm of, boredom, planning, distraction. It's virtual mind, living in fantasy. So it's good to have kind of a, what would you call it, a marker when you're considering your experience. And if it's feeling somehow familiar to you, comfortable perhaps, then most likely that's right, the movement of movement of memory, the movement of not paying attention. Which, so then living in virtual mind persists. We negotiate and navigate and complain and wonder and entertain ourselves through this lens of virtual mind. And somehow we have learned or been conditioned, or who knows, to actually brace or resist against disorientation. We think disorientation is bad. Disorientation is a sign of poor functionality, political incorrectness, poor social graces. So we shun disorientation and lean into familiarity, orientation of self. And that's what we call the life. That's where we dwell, most often, you could say. And when we're living through the familiar zone or virtual mind or fantasy, then we're not open to the scintillating richness of, you could say, momentary evaporative experience. Because we're functioning through the lens of familiarity, accusation, presumption, pattern recognition, form. So behaviorally, we're dull. The senses are dull. Quality of observation is dull. The way we treat our partners can be dull because we're looking through memory. We're looking through form. We're looking through orientation. These interludes are useful to the extent that they can conjure, perhaps deliver, invite one's awareness into disorientation. And it's a subtle disorientation. It's not like being blotto on alcohol or, perhaps some other kind of medicine. You could say it's an appreciation of, well, you don't really know quite where you are, quite what time it is, when it is, how you got to a place, why you're in a place, what you hope to gain from being in the place, how you're going to wrap up, the lessons or the discussion or whatever it is to be of some utility to you in the future. So you could say you become disoriented, which is another useful metaphor is you become innocent. You don't have a raging social agenda, a raging political agenda. No point needs to be made. So you can rest in a certain kind of innocence. No demand is being placed on your present experience. And in you could say practicing that art, playing with it, you can feel yourself unhooking from conformity, familiarity, and orientation, and beginning to pick up the scent, the sensation, the intimacy, the rich, vibratory vitality of presence itself. And what's fun about presence is you don't need to explain, justify, measure, compare, convince, supplicate, manipulate. All of these, you could say, habits of virtual mind. Hi. That are always running interference patterns with your, let's say, the enjoyment of your present experience. All of those habits can be put to bed, lullaby them away. And now you're fresh. Undefended. You're not in the loop of having to process, right, experience, either lovely experience or disappointing experience. You don't have to process anything. And you begin to feel the, what would you call it, the inner sanctum of the vibratory nature of experiencing. And you're not framing it through the body, through the mind, through expectation, through attention seeking, through, behavioral affliction. Space. You have all of this miracle of space, which is not a container, right? Not a volume. Space is a metaphor for just availability, openness itself. You don't place any demand on the world, on the objects of the world, on other people, on financial markets, on your broker, on your chiropractor. You don't place any demands on anyone or anything. So practicing and playing around with these things, you become acquainted with a palpable, felt, non-imaginary, quality, aperture of being. This disorientation is lovely. It's nourishing. It's playful. It's immersive. You place no demand on it. It places no demand on you. It's of the nature of a bottomless subtlety. You could say it's empty of content, empty of objects, and yet it's felt as a profound fullness. You see, so the movement of rumination, which is the movement of distortion, right? Rumination thought is distortion because it's appearing apparitionally, it's appearing virtually. Everything that your mind assigns meaning to is just the assignment of conditioned or arbitrary meaning. It's not actual. so you can feel yourself free from the reflex, the habit of pattern recognition and meaning assignment. It doesn't mean that thoughts stop. It's really that your attention goes to the texture of fullness. And so your attention is not hijacked by thought. You don't invest in thought. So impulses arise because that's what thought is, right? Call it a neuronal impulse, an impulse from the music of the spheres. The source is not important. But because you're so engaged in your inner affability, you don't trace the thought, you don't follow the thought, you don't jump on the wagon of thinking. And so the impulse may still be present, but you're not seeking to derive meaning or orientation from thinking. So that's a shift in the geometry or content and context of awareness itself. Where commonly during the so-called day, or for we humans that are drunk with objects, we're living in the imagination of temporality and spatiality, as if there is actually a world that exists independent of awareness itself, in which we are scurrying about like hamsters or mice or some other rodent, large and small, to get our stuff done. And then, scurry to the next appointment. Or the next, in our case, roof. Right? The roof of home, the roof of work, right? The roof of the grocery store, the roof of the automobile. Right? We pretty much, run from roof to roof. Unless we're on a nice walk, in which case the sky is our roof, which is exposing our heads to outer space.
And apparently a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Like one cloud weighs like a lot, apparently.
Oh, I bet clouds are probably pretty heavy.
80 elephants.
Wow, one cloud could be 80 elephants. God, if it starts raining elephants, man. Holy shit. Or even elephant poop. That's how you know the elephants are about to fall. Hi.
Are
Well,
elephants vegetarian at least?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good, yeah. Sure, yeah.
That's good.
Elephants are vegan, except when they're nursing.
Oh,
True.
and
You just
they're
make
not
that
when they nurse? I mean, what do they eat?
Well, they're drinking their mother's milk.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the mama.
So it's pretty simple.
Pretty basic stuff.
It's real basic, man.
Simple, not easy.
Simple, not easy. Yeah. Yes. I mean, discovering that it's possible to be nourished by awareness itself, free from objects, free from subject, free from time, is kick-ass.
It's outrageous.
It's really outrageous.
outrageous.
It's outrageous. These people should be arrested.
It's heresy. It's seen that way.
I know it. Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
not understood.
It's,
I mean,
it's against the republic we stand for.
yeah. It's not understood. It's not grasped so much of the time.
Seems to be a sinking into objects and sounds and sensations. Like, it seems to be sort of like a surrender and a sinking in right into the center of that.
Oh, yes.
Like, you don't go above it or ignore it. It's like you just let it have you.
Yes,
And kind of it comes to get you through every pore.
it does comes to get you. It does. It comes to get you through every pore. Yeah. Yeah, when you feel, the metaphor of every pore, you're diffuse. Your attention is diffuse. Your attention is available. It's non-directed. It's non-bracing.
It's kind of like you're eaten alive by objects. What you used to call objects, they sort of have you. Because you're in the middle of it.
Well, yes, but you might notice that, what we're referring to as objects, and it's easy to misunderstand that word. I mean, it could be used, right, with a lot of nuance, variability. So this texture of presence, this inhabiting or immersive nature of availability is not dependent on objects. So even the presence of experiencing, whatever it is or isn't, does not become inebriated with objects.
Seems just like a shifting through different modes in some sense. And there are definitely some modes that just drop in whenever they drop in where there are no objects.
Yeah.
At all. But then there's other ones where everything's very objectified and whatever.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, I mean, you can reflect on events that occurred prior to now and come up with a very cogent report.
Well, even now, I mean,
Mhm.
in a sense, I can play with a bunch of different, all of that right now.
Yep. Even, it's very strange. I mean, even the most, innocent and sincere reporting on present experience has to create, right, some kind of boundary field or objectification or subjectification to be able to report on as something that's either happened or is happening. It's very subtle. I mean, in order to create something that has happened or is happening, you must, right, assign meaning, discernment, comparison, texture, memory to a degree, right, to even suggest that something is occurring.
And that,
Yeah.
that's highly prized. It's the creative
Yeah.
outspring, it's creative writing, it's all about that, or anything. It's like, what do you see? This, here's a box with something in it, and, right,
Yes.
tell me what's in it, be
Sure.
creative. But it seems to me it's not the objects. That's neither here nor there. It's the
Yeah.
construing of something with the objects.
Well, they're the same. They're the same. There are no objects without construing.
Well, seeing an object, are you saying that seeing an object is really no different than having opinions about the object?
Yeah,
Yes.
everything's construed
Yes, it has to be construed.
completely.
Yeah. Because you don't know what seeing is.
Apprehending the object, is that maybe a
Well,
little more diffuse?
that's another form of construe.
Is it?
Sure. Yeah.
Observing the object? I mean,
Still. Yeah.
well,
Definitely.
what the hell, man? I mean, come
That's
on.
right.
Everything's construed. There's no.
That's right. What the hell is a good question. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking at a, dare I say, profound present attenuation to, call it phenomena or experiencing it at hand. And in order to have a report or to apprehend
Mhm.
or to measure or compare or point to an object, there
Or
has
even
to be,
the point to.
yeah, Yeah, there has to be, right? You have to create, you have to construe. So when we look at
Is it just because there's a separation? So as soon as you're construing,
construing is separation.
it's the very bottom line
Yes.
of separation.
That's what you're playing with. You're looking
The
at the
first-
lowest or least common denominator or bottom line or Genesis, right? Genesis point, not that it's a point, or Genesis occurrence of so-called separation, which is construing. And that's remarkably subtle.
Yeah, that there either is an object or isn't an object, or that there's maybe you're just making up relations to things.
Yes, right.
Describing them and then
Yes,
whatever, cataloging them and
yes. Yeah. So can awareness, as in right about here and right about now, dare I say, enjoy itself without construing?
Although all of this stuff is going on, possibly, whatever,
What stuff? What possibly?
this stuff, you know.
just,
But see, okay.
So stuff is going on.
Okay,
just
stuff
keep
is
it
going
really
on.
vague and then
Yeah,
you're safe.
right.
Really,
Trying like
really
But
vague.
is stuff going on?
Well, I guess that's the mystery. I mean, that is the mystery of what's between apprehension and non-apprehension. I mean, what is there when there's no apprehension?
This. It's the same. This is the same. Samsara and nirvana are one. Emptiness is form. Form is emptiness. This is it. Really.
But we're all kind of tilted towards the form.
That's what we're playing with. We're just looking at, you could say, the reflex, conditioned or otherwise, to lean into apprehension or construement, whatever the word might be, to see how objects and therefore subject are born, as in instantaneously. And because creation appears to have a persistent nature, though empty, persistent, the invitation to remain under the influence of construing duality is nonstop.
Could you say that's the source of creation? That point where construence occurs? If there's, I mean,
Well, sure, if you're into creation, why not? Blame that.
it's just one of the stages along the path.
Well, this is creative, but not necessarily creation.
Well, I mean, any idea is a creation.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing or anything.
No.
I'm just saying it's another blossoming of whatever.
It's mitochondrial, man. It's a Krebs cycle in your face.
If you consider for a moment that what they're doing with the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider,
Oh, yes. Right.
they are not finding it.
LH,
God damn it. All those billions
How
spent.
fast they-
They've run out of things to
No
find.
matter how fast they speed it up,
Yeah. And smash.
it's exactly what's happening.
Well, they've already
Yeah.
found the God particle.
There
Right?
is no difference. No difference.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The reason you can't find anything here is because this isn't anything.
It disappears as soon as it
Yeah.
appears.
I mean, there are physicists that I would argue could do understand this and perhaps even articulate it. Hi. But that's curious, right? I mean, the confidence that we place in objects, we insist that this is an existent, manifest, phenomenally vital universe in which we appear as an object, as a body and as a mind. And so we send our probes, whether microscopically or macroscopically, telescopically or otherwise, into the plasma of this apparently independently existent universe to see what we can get back. And what do we get back? Well, just more mirrors of possibility, more mirrors of implication. We don't actually find anything.
Anything.
But you can send a lunar module and land on the moon or Mars, or check out moons of so-called planets, or the Voyager, which is the farthest presently traveling object created by man, left the influence of the solar space a couple years ago. It got out of the solar system. It left the influence of the plasma of the sun. I mean, it's talking about meditation. Fucking thing is quiet, man. I don't know what it's picking up or whether we're still receiving any signals from it, but I mean, Deep Space Nine, right? Like, baby, rocks out here. Takes a while to get here, but once you're here, man, it's like pretty blissful. So when we use accelerators or other forms of probing into the so-called physical plasma to get feedback, what do we find? We find the beatitude of the present experience expressing through implication, nonstop implication that never actually delivers a destination, even though you might age and then close. But you could say all throughout the trajectory of whatever this is, animating as a bioforce like a human, you've got, it looks like you had a conception, maybe, a birth, maybe, and ultimately a very pleasant, blissful passing. But whatever this is or isn't, right, hasn't been affected at all because it's not anything.
It's really tough to wrap your mind around that.
I mean, it's the best. It's really the best.
It appears to me that you have to stay right on the tip of that
Yeah,
to sense it and to get it, that there isn't anything happening.
yeah, I know.
Every fucking moment we got here, it disappears.
Yeah,
As fast as it shows up.
yeah, faster maybe sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, really. You can turn around and not see your ass. That's how quick it's disappearing. Whoa, my ass is gone. This is very curious. Whatever this is won't quit. But that does not insist or demand that it is a independently existing, secularly or spiritually existing, right, universe of stuff that was born with something referred to as a Big Bang. That may be running out of, vital energy and will, in some number of billions of years, whatever those are, go dark. That's a curious prediction. So if you're not twisted with conjuring, twisted with apprehension, you're this, which of course you've always been. Good luck not being that. So you're not an object. You're not a human. You're not a subject. You're not consciousness. You're not awareness. You're at worst, you're a sensate plasma of implication. All of our emotion, all of our stories, all of our plans, all of our wealth and lack of wealth, disappointments and peak moments is a plasma of implication. Felt profoundly, felt profusely. So our identity as a person, as born, as an object in a volume called, the universe, is really just a distortion. No wonder there's suffering, because egoic identity with body, mind, and birth and temporality is a distortion of reality. And that distortion is unsatisfying, confused.
Severely lacking.
It is severely lacking. Even if you have money in the bank. I mean, why does the 1/10 of the 1% want any more than they've got? I mean, can't they give us a break on the siphoning? It's like they're completely committed to siphoning, you know, next war with Mexico, next war with Iran, next war with whomever, right? The stock market goes whoop, 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 because we're having a currency war with the Chinese, you know? I'm like, damn, don't you guys have enough? Can you chill on the siphoning and let's be hippies for the next decade? Why don't we'll just play Grateful Dead music in the square and everyone will smoke doobies and we can just chill out from all the siphoning and all the war. And the police can put down their weapons and stop arresting people, and you can empty the prisons of, let's say, nonviolent offenders. Right? Right? I mean, can we get, you know, can we ask the fucking Rockefellers or the Rothschilds or the Bilderberg fuckers and say, can we get a decade of a little Pax? Would you mind a decade of Pax so you don't have to keep fucking siphoning everything to the point of destroying the species, you motherfucker idiots? How's that for a spiritual comment? You know? Okay, so we all go down. Like Billy Joel said, we will all go down together. Yes, we will all go down together. That's where this is going. So it's probably a good idea to get enlightened as fast as possible, because if you're trying to suck any joy out of this from a body point of view, there's going to be a lot of disappointment. Yeah. Once Trump gets done with that wall. Fucking idiot goobers from hell. The lot of them. Unbelievable. But you know, that's their engineering, right? That's how they've been designed to get maximal joy from life, is siphon the wealth out of the entirety of the population and then you know, do a mass extinction event.
And then what?
Do it again.
What?
Repeat. Then repeat. Yeah, that's all they've got.
What?
Let's have a war.
Where is it going?
Repeat. That's why they do it, because they're so frustrated. They're so anally retentive. All that wealth, all that power, all that control, all that, you know, surveillance, all of that militarization gives them nothing. And they can't stop.
What they resent most of all are the so-called entitlements. That's the term they would use. Because, I mean, I've had this argument with a very wealthy friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
And that's what it really comes down to.
They really get pissed off
Yeah,
at
it's
democratic social entitlements.
Yeah, a free ride type of thing.
The free ride.
And it's coming from me, you know, because, you know, I
Well, yeah.
worked hard to get, I started as, you know, lower middle class.
Are you still friends with this person?
You know, it's a tenuous friendship.
Yeah. I mean, entitled, and everyone suffers from entitlement. The mega wealthy suffer from entitlement. The very poor suffer from entitlement.
They just brand it differently.
You know, entitlement is nothing other than this revelation of turning this into something. Where does the entire portfolio of, call it human nature, the disappointing aspects of human nature come from? They come from this distortion.
You have to invest great belief and credibility in the distortion.
Yes.
That's the second part of that.
Well, comes with it's on tap, right? It's embedded. I mean, the distortion is also that there's investment in that distortion.
Well, there's a cultural event you're born into it.
Yes, it appears so, of course.
That's what
Yeah,
it may have been perceived differently. 12,000 years ago.
yeah, when there was more oxygen in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's right.
Circulating.
The Satya Yuga, something like that, where everyone was like, this is pretty fucking stoned.
And it nevertheless disappeared too.
Oh, it looks that way.
And the fucking up is part of this game.
It is. Yeah,
That's all there is to it.
it's messy. It's messy. Yeah. Perfect, messy, no quarrel. Ah. So as we run agendas, we're usually running agendas, right, from the perspective of being a creature, being an object, or being a subject. And we're running these agendas emotionally and psychiatrically and as concerns, wellness, security. That's running agendas. Or we're entertaining ourselves with amore or disappointment, blame and shame. Right. This is just entertaining itself nonstop. And we take this idolatrous entertainer to be real, to be the arbiter of reality. Yikes. No wonder we drink and spend good money on football. We're entertaining a rather, dare I say, radical appreciation of the present texture of what reality might be. Obviously you can't say what it is because anything said is just,
Crazy.
it's just already, not quite, right? It's always not quite because this is too bizarre. Not quite. Sounds good, not quite.
It's beyond understanding.
Always. Well, even understanding is not important.
It's indifferent to it.
Yeah, understanding is something that a human might have or not have depending on their IQ and what's being presented to them. It's like, understanding? Yeah. So, beyond, how about everything? You could say its nature is just always beyond, persistently, transcendently beyond.
Reminds me of a Bible verse.
Remind-
Beyond everything that you ask or think. I can't come up with the whole thing.
Fair enough.
I am, isn't
We need a chat.
it? Beyond everything,
Mm.
blah, 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 blah.
Chat room?
I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be. Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong.
it could be.
We have an answer from Australia already.
Yeah, there's an answer from
I'll just stay
Australia
home and
popping
do
up on the
that.
screen. That Bible verse is John 27, when Jesus said,
Man in the chat room.
one must learn, why not, to, let's say, recall your vital energy, which is this presence, recall this presence from objects, from abstraction, from hypotheticalism, from what ifs. You recall, right? Just like the crappy automobile that blows up if you tap it in the back. You recall your awareness from objects. Not that difficult to do, really. You shift from feeding the neocortex, because awareness has to feed the neocortex for there to be apprehension or construing. That's how meaning assignment occurs, right? So the neocortex is fine, no quarrel, just get out. and shut the door behind you
So
and lock it.
Bar it.
awareness itself is one step too far. Is that what you're saying?
No, well, I mean, it's a clumsy metaphor, as all metaphors are, because we're using awareness as a vitality of yours, which is an object that you can do something about. And that's fine. I mean, there's a certain practicality in that, just to make a point. But as you actually start playing with it, it becomes way more subtle than the gross accusation that awareness is an object, that you have the capacity of agency, and that then you can, right, tune your awareness to a location, whether that location is internal or external or whatever. But as a clumsy metaphor, it's like before apprehension or accusation or meaning assignment occurs, not that there's any before, because all there is this happening as a simultaneity. But if we're playing around with it in a kind of a time frame, before accusation occurs, there is this. There is the vitality of
Out of the
irrefutability.
void.
Yeah. And so what we use awareness to say, why do I know this is happening? Why the fuck should something be happening? And why must I know about it? Right? We're saying that's awareness. Even though there is no awareness, not as an object, not as a subject, right? And yet all there is awareness.
It's tough. It's like getting close to the speed of light where everything gets infinitely massive or something, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, awareness.
That's where you meet Spock.
Yeah. Awareness, I mean, really, it can mean anything, it seems like.
Duh.
Or,
Like consciousness,
I
like
mean,
the absolute.
So when anybody, Krishnamurti or,
Yep.
or you name it,
Yeah.
talks about awareness.
If you could, I had a vision
That's
once of Krishnamurti and Sai Baba and Nisargadatta and Paramahansa Yogananda playing cards, laughing their heads off at us dumb fucks. Yeah,
Just like the dog picture of them.
That's right, the dogs playing cards, yeah. all the saints and gurus were playing cards going, man, those guys are pretty dumb.
That'd be a good Photoshop.
Early down there. Right. I really snookered him with that awareness shit. Yeah, I really fucked him up by calling it the absolute. Har, har, har. Presence, noticing, traveling lighter. Har, har, har. What a crock of shit. But you got to go somewhere, you know what I mean? If you're having the conversation, it's like we got to pretend that we have a fish net or a lasso or something where we can, kind of scoop in a bunch of clams, a bunch of piss clams, out of the sand, and then have some kind of fun concept about it and just watch it disappear. Otherwise, you may as well go to a Vipassana retreat and sit around quietly. I don't actually think those work as well, but you can go there. These guys, that video that I sent out, these are lovely guys. They're just a little foolish, I think.
What a butcher.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I tuned into it.
You see?
Nobody just slammed their ass.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I couldn't. It was
What a
just
bunch
way
of
too long.
self-serving fucking fools.
That's where I was going with it. I was waiting to figure out if someone would come up with something cogent, delightful, charming, humorous, insightful, and it was just a pile of indulgence.
They're looking at their belly button.
It was just a pile of indulgence, and I'm like,
I like the guy with the tattoo.
yeah, they're all lovable. There's no question. But there was just, I was like, something's not right here.
No, I felt
They seem to be saying what you'd expect them to be saying, and they're on the right track, and they've got kind of funny, laughing, contemplative looks, and speaking with a little bit of authority about shit. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, but
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. And I'm like, I don't think so.
They haven't done the necessary work.
Yeah,
They're still,
They got the attitude.
they're not deep enough. They're really not.
that's
They've
what I was
just turned it
missing.
into another thing.
They,
It's like now there's this, and the reason you're suffering, and then we have a solution, and this is it.
yeah.
And it's like, no,
Yeah, there's
and
no-
you're just back in the circle.
And that sounds
Yeah.
a lot like the
We're
SIG group.
circle.
you know.
Oh, SIG? Oh, yeah. Right.
Same-
Bart Marshall, Enlightenment Lieutenant 101.
Yeah.
Hi, Bart. It's like those marionette bobbleheads, you
What
know?
was that? Is that what that
I'm
was?
enlightened.
I missed out on
Oh.
the video conference, but I did hear the tape.
With Peter on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations, sir.
that's right.
You know, I'm glad you're stimulating somebody's medulla.
That's right.
You know, you guys have fun.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
That's
If you've got a pituitary, if you have a pituitary, you may as well diddle with it.
Play with it.
That's right.
It's one more.
Well, it was funny because when he was talking, I'm like, this guy is so
Well, I
full of
gotta
shit,
tune
but
into that.
I want some. Whatever he's talking about, I'm like, that sounds kind of like I want some. I'll take a session.
Bring this guy to
So when I wrote to those guys,
Yeah.
I was, I was inspired by them, and I was just in this cranky, bizarre mood. And we went to see a, crazy movie, that American Ultra movie with Jesse Eisenberg. He's like a super spy that's, turned back on, and
Oh.
yeah, it was
Thought you were
campy,
like
and
spy when you were writing
it was.
this.
So I was, I was just in a swoon, right?
You were like a comic book character.
Yes, it was very comic booky. Yeah, right. So then I wrote them saying, basically, I want to love you guys, but you're just missing something, and I can't. You just, what the fuck? Fuck off. You should just fuck off. And I figured these guys are enlightened, so they don't care about being told to fuck off. Even if you're not enlightened, you'd be wise not to care if someone tells you to fuck off, right? It's like, thank you. Yeah, you're right. So one of the guys, Lewis, the one with the tattoos, he wrote back saying, great advice. Yeah. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. Lewis has got it going on. But then the guru,
Oh my God.
this guy Joey, who's the guru of the others, I think. It sounded like there was a certain kind of hierarchy there. Joey was the one that sent me back this big personhood email.
Right.
I'm like, Joe, I would never have expected this from you, but now it's quite clear you're a dumb fuck idiot living as a person, and you got a bunch of shit to defend.
What did I ever do to you?
Yeah,
Really?
I know.
That's where we're
I mean,
at.
maybe he was in a bad mood when he read it, but I was like,
What did I
whoa,
ever do
there's
to
a
you?
guy who's still very happy to
Yeah,
think
you
that he's a
deserve
person.
this email.
And even happier still to be insulted by an idiot and then defend it. And I'm like, okay.
Point taken.
I was like, thanks, Joe. I realized there was something not quite right, and there you
There
go.
it is.
There it is. Thanks a lot. I feel vindicated, which is all I want to do from day to day. Anyway, it's fun. It's curious.
I think it's delightful that there's some fish swimming around in this stew.
Yeah.
Because you sure don't see it too often, you know what I mean? I don't, it's only, you find things and you clue us in on some of this stuff, so you see some odd things, but
Uh-huh.
mostly what I see is pretty bland,
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's what we find when there's distortion. When there's distortion of the fundamental primacy of a liquid reality, we find bland. Mediocrity. Self-importance.
I've developed a bullshit fever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a filter that you just cannot penetrate.
Mm-hmm.
Off of it, jackass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it Bluetooth, or do you have to stick it up the subject's ass
Probably.
to get the right volt reading?
Oh, man.
really.
Yep, just stick it up their ass while stimulating that little
The
thing.
pituitary. Yeah, that's it. Look, put this up your ass and stimulate your pituitary. We'll see whether you're full of bullshit or not.
So why do you have to name the pituitary or the pineal gland? I mean, I don't know. How the hell do we know what they're stimulating?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
are we going back to?
We'll look and find.
Yeah.
Probes.
Well, we
probe everything.
the sphenobacillar synchondrosis, which is where the sphenoid and the occiput meet and bridge and breathe. That's, what is it called? Cella or cella turcica or something. I don't know the medical pronunciation well. And that is the seat of the pituitary gland. Midbrain, behind the eyes, at the crank between the sphenoid and the occiput. And the yogis, they cut the bottom of their tongue so they can whip it back there and tickle that fucker.
Maybe
Smart
there's a
yogis
device
do.
You can use instead, a little tickler.
Oh yeah, you probably can.
How do you know all this shit?
I read too many comic books. Yeah, and when you do Sanskrit and perhaps other languages, when you do Sanskrit, and which is a very tympanic language, so is Pali, right? Those languages that are very tympanic are using the tongue, right, and the soft palate to create snap and tap sounds, and that's stimulating. Yeah. Well, but brownie brittle is pretty good too. Yeah, if your tongue can't reach your pituitary, just have some brownie brittle and forget all about it. Use what you have. Use what's at hand.
I'm going to assert that there's an unnoticed and unrecognized benefit out of these meetings and this conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
And it is that this is really the only worthwhile thing to use language for.
Yeah. Yep.
Why do I say that?
Describe the undescribable or
I've
something.
run into my landmark people
Yeah.
who
Oh my God.
still think they're going to create something
Yeah.
with language.
That's total nausea.
They absolutely don't get it.
No.
Well, they've made a commitment.
Well, I think that it's a device and a tool to have some impact on the universe.
Mm-hmm.
When actually it's, in our employ of it, it's used to take the pants off, to cut the legs off of
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
So you just allow it to happen.
Well, yeah.
Don't get all fucking caught up.
It's got you by the short and curlies anyway.
Yeah.
It's not waiting around for you to allow doodly do. But yeah, that's the myth. If you're a creature, if you're an object, and absolutely confused and living with an unrecognizable subconscious distortion, you think creation is a way out.
Right.
So language, Higgs boson, dynamite, atom splitting.
What is my purpose?
Yeah. What is my purpose?
What the fucking myths
Yeah. Really.
that are created out of language?
Yeah. Yeah. 7-point-something billion are going, what's my purpose? And, Eckhart Tolle up in the sky is going, well, let me check. I'll get back to you. Yeah. What's your purpose?
Tell me, lays it up. It's just-
To become methane. Go back to your original face, methane.
Particles.
Call it the methane method.
Yeah, the methane method. I like it. This is key. When it's possible, if it's possible, we create a vocabulary, a shared vocabulary, a shared interest in retreating from the implication of creature.
Mhm.
retreating from the implication of person, of knowledge, of accomplishment of any kind, attunement of any kind. A different flavor arises. A different texture can arise. You know, even when someone sells unlimited possibilities, you still want a practical possibility to occur. Having nonstop unlimited possibilities that don't actually become anything is not that satisfying to you. Oh, unlimited possibilities. Well, here, let me place my order. Right? Because I want those fucking unlimited possibilities to turn out to wealth and health and, you know, a better wardrobe. And Jesus, my car needs, you know, a new radio. That's what I want. That's what I want the unlimited possibilities to become. Something of utility and practicality or security or, you know, creature comfort for the likes of me. How about if all you've got is unlimited possibilities, but they never become anything? How satisfying is that? Duh. What does any implication turn into except more iteration of implication? If something actually happened to you prior to this moment, you'd be overwhelmed with the inventory of experience since you were so-called born. If something actually happened, you couldn't function. You'd be like those people in that, you know, the show with the robot that cleaned up the debris and all the humans were floating around in the, right? You could, I mean, you'd be fat, but not just physically fat like I am. You'd be like fat with the burden of experience.
Trying to remember the movie. It's something E.
Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Wall-E, yeah. So if something actually occurred to you prior to now, if it really did happen, you'd be paralyzed. With like too much fucking shit happened to me, and I don't have any room for anything more to happen to me. But nothing actually did happen to you, so you're good to go. You're free, which is true because when they look for shit, what do they find? That this is looking for itself through the lens of implication that never goes anywhere, never becomes anything. So this refreshment is stranger and more demanding than we might let on. You are actually refreshed. I mean, completely refreshed. Completely refreshed. More refreshed than that even. Memory is on tap, but you'll notice that memory seems to do its own thing. You think that you're the decider of what it is that you want to recall. I don't think so.
Eat something differently.
Yeah, there's no way.
You're not the decider of what it is that you want to recall. And even if you're in an engineering condition or a creative condition, or you're making cold calls to get insurance appointments or whatever the hell you're doing, everything is occurring radiantly, spontaneously through the apparatus, which is no apparatus at all, of pure magic. You come in and claim memory, choice, decision, focus after the fact. You're being played.
Yeah.
Absolutely being played. How did we get to the moon? Magic. How did we get back? More of same. And yet you could say the drop down from radiant bliss that turns into blueprints and sketches and computers and engineering and fabrication and welding and fuel and giant machinery riding on train tracks to create, right, something that can leave Earth's gravitational field and drop a few monkeys or naked apes on the local satellite. The effort is incomprehensible. But that same incomprehensibility is operating when you mow your lawn. Or pay someone else to do it.
Better yet.
That's better yet. Yeah, you reach into your back pocket, you get a piece of leather out, there's some like interesting smelling greenbacks in there, you hand them to some guy, and your lawn gets cut. And you're like, I just went to the moon. And back. It's a lot of fun being disembodied euphoria if you can take it. If you can't take it, it's not that much fun. What is yoga? Yoga is learning how to take it. That's all of it. All yoga is learning how to take it so that once it dawns on you that you are in disembodied euphoria, you can take it. Otherwise, you'll spin back into apprehension just to avoid yourself.
Run like hell.
Run like hell. Where do we think we're going when we ruminate in dramatic distractions? Who are we running away from? Disembodied euphoria. It's got to be fun if ever you reach, a luscious place where you just don't give a fuck about you. Not as the person, not as the creature, not as the body, not as the owner of accoutrements. You just don't give a fuck about you. Is that free enough? You don't have to tell anybody how you used to suffer and why, or what happened that now it appears you're suffering less. Nobody cares. They really don't. You just create another field of distortion, another field of illusion, another field of envy. It's bullshit. Someone says, so what's happening in your experience? What's the only honest answer you can give? I have no fucking idea. Which is great. That's the relief and the release from that. This needs to be about something.
It's almost like a lot of fun to it kind of in your head be like, I have no fucking idea, but then you just spew a bunch of bullshit knowing that you actually have no idea.
That's what these meetings are.
Yeah, you're following the script. Yeah.
No, but it's fun. It could be really fun to do that. It doesn't have to stop or be an issue. It's just whatever,
What do you do with the night sky Sangha? Well, we have no fucking idea what's happening, but we spew bullshit. And you get a chuckle once in a while.
But I feel like that's all day, every day.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah. Yep. Well, behavior, conditioning, affability, cooperation, all the things that we have to negotiate with, either within ourselves or with someone else, right? Even if you're doing flowers in the back room, you don't have any client contact, you still have to, behave a certain way, cooperate, focus. comes with. Isn't it curious that as the aroma of nourishment is felt by you, as you find yourself just organically withdrawing from hysteria and resting in availability itself, wanting ends.
Very strange.
Distractibility, justification, wanting,
Stories.
story, just you're still on tap. If you feel like you need your personality to make a point about something to someone, you know, you'll be right there with great fervor and
Yeah, all the usual whatever.
great fervor and focus of energy.
You're like, wow, I'm doing this.
Yeah, really. Wow, I didn't know I had that in me. Yeah, I ordered a Burger King burger with like extra onions and da 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 da. I made it really clear in the microphone. Got what I wanted.
No, it's not that late. I'm just so tired. I gotta go.
He's just lame.
We had this guy on the floor doing slacker yoga. He needs to get home and go to bed.
Yeah, that's right.
He's slacked out, man.
I'm all
Yeah, worn
slacked
out.
out.
It's all slacked out.
I'm all slacked out.
See you, Denise.
See ya.
Right.
Get those vegetables. Get them.
Get them, smash them up.
Smash those vegetables. Smash them. Press them. Oh yeah, have some of that. Open the other one too.
See? Yeah.
If you like that flavor better.
I think I would like
Coffee
coffee better.
crunch.
Oh yeah, no, go for the toffee.
Those are good. They look weird, but they're good. They're loud when you crunch them. I guess we'll have to try toffee.
I think so. Now that it's open. Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
My worm friends need to be
See
fed.
ya.
See you, Denise.
Bye-bye.
Did somebody open the toffee?
They're like, my worm friends are like, coffee.
Oh yeah, all my, that's
Choke
right.
it.
All my worms.
That's your favorite local person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Mmm.
love coffee.
It rhymes with coffee.
Coffee.
I'm okay.
These are weird. Crunch brownie taste with the cookie crunch.
Somebody's got it going on. Well, I am convinced enlightenment is not possible without sweets. I don't care what anybody says.
Like I did actually have a
You
burger.
are gonna get a
with
lot more
sugar
people now.
and all kinds of things
Coming in
before, and I still
droves.
like onion bread. A little bit. A little further.
My name is Shukadev Goswami, and I'm here to tell you that enlightenment is not possible without sweets.
He's a lawyer.
Get with the program.
I knew it was bad when we were getting set up to do an ad hoc Fuse meeting, and it was like, I gotta have ice cream.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so
Everything
funny.
before
We're
we
like,
needed to
because
set
you were
up
gone
and-
for like so long. We're like, what the fuck is she doing?
I was waiting to get the thing.
I know, but we were
And I was
just
like,
joking.
screw it, I'm just serving up the ice cream.
I'm like, I bet you she's eating it while she's serving it, and that's what takes. That takes a long time. If you eat it, it takes a long time to fill the bowl. If you're eating it
Yeah.
while you're putting it
I
in
would
there.
have signed up first, but the ice cream came.
Mhm.
They didn't do well.
That's all we do is we wait for the URL.
While eating ice cream. What did you do today? I ate snacks while waiting for the URL.
It's so delicious to be free of knowledge, free from knowledge, and free from the reflex that attempts to, right, conjure or apprehend knowledge.
Human knowledge. Or, I don't know what,
Well,
I mean, what do you mean by knowledge?
any representation.
Mhm.
Am I? Luckily,
Yes,
speaking for myself,
good.
I have no particular education, so I didn't waste all that time getting that education.
Nice. Yeah,
I did, and they are prank calling me because I owe them 30 grand, which turned out to be useful, useless, I mean.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you just, instead of paying them, just give them the knowledge back?
I'm not paying them or giving them their knowledge back, so
Hmm,
they're losing on all fronts.
yeah. Well, that's good. That'll teach them not to sell knowledge at a high price.
Young, unsuspecting kids.
Yeah, trying to enroll unsuspecting kids in knowledge,
They really are worse than drug dealers.
and then holding them financially accountable for it.
I know.
Don't you know they're just kids? They don't know what they're in for.
No.
Besides, the 1/10 of the 1% have siphoned all the wealth away, and they can't get any jobs anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, you really got us coming and going, don't you? Coming and going, right? Don't you?
And most people are very scared and they're loyal to that.
Yeah.
How long do you think the current political piece of tall grass is going to survive?
Makes me nervous sometimes.
Huh?
The current what?
Tall grass, yeah.
Political
Oh,
tall
oh.
grass.
I don't get it either.
Mr. Trump.
Tall grass.
Him alone, you mean, or the whole shebang?
No, it's a Chinese metaphor.
Yeah.
That's why they can control a billion people and don't have any trouble.
Because they have.
The tall grass gets cut off.
The
that
chocolate
down.
or the toffee?
So you never
Actually better.
Say anything, you never stand,
Whatever.
This one's the
up
one
and
he didn't have.
show
It's got
yourself.
real chocolate.
That's right.
That I like
So-
better.
After Kennedy got killed,
Yeah.
nobody stands up.
No, they're weird.
It befuddles
No.
the right wing
They're
because they're so
sugar first day
principled.
friends.
I
Mhm.
can't believe somebody will not act on their principles.
Hmm.
You're not permitted.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So Trump is occupying an interesting position because he's independently financed and he brags about it.
Yep.
Not allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not,
You can't do that.
right. He's not allowed.
That's not permitted.
That's right.
So as a tall piece of grass,
Yeah.
I don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
Unless he was invited to a Bilderberg meeting that we don't know about, and they're saying, okay, you're next,
Yeah, that could be.
right?
The
You'll appear as the upstart, independently financed
Right.
voice of nationalistic reason, and you'll clear the GOP field. You'll get the nomination,
No.
and he probably, and if he was
Yeah,
invited to that meeting, he was like,
No.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Well, that's an interesting take.
No.
But
Yeah.
The problem is that there's
hunker down.
millions
That's
of
not
dollars
possible.
It's not good.
given to the Bush campaign.
It's possible,
All right, I'm
That's
becoming
gotta
an
be
assassin.
but it's
squandered.
not good.
You know what?
We could trade
Becoming an
together.
assassin if he gets elected.
I'll help you plan it. You learn how to shoot a gun. Stuff.
Yeah,
That'd be good for
Probably
me.
going to be not very good.
We're chattel. We are all disposable chattel. inconsequential, disposable chattel that truly, are here at the pleasure of forces beyond our imagination.
And just happen to be in the right place on the planet. So it can look like we're having a good life.
Yeah, why not? If you trace history, despite all of the weird conflict and shit that's going on, this is kind of a golden age.
Yeah.
For some number of people. Relatively few, but some number of people. Yeah, this is a golden age.
I don't know, I'm having a good time.
You've been lucky. Show up at the right spot.
Lucky.
Well, nobody's shooting at you for goddamn sure.
Not yet.
You know.
That's true. Not with guns, but
Well, we went to see
other
we went to the movies, and there was a sign at the theater that said, "We have the right to inspect packages."
Mhm.
And we asked the woman at the ticket counter, "What's that about?" Some gibberish about there being a film somewhere being distributed that is arousing anti-feminist sentiment. I'm not even sure what movie it is or something. Or she said that she's made some comment that it's not in the news, but there have been, instances or events at theaters. So I'm like, I didn't really quite get the justification for, something. So then we walk to hand the ticket in, and the woman that takes our tickets feels absolutely comfortable to invade Beth's privacy and examine her purse.
A small purse.
oh man, was it
Put it
filled
over
with
there.
snacks? Because I just felt that shit was
Nobody was in
snacks.
line, and I thought, I almost was like, honey, you gotta change this. What if there's people behind me?
Well, you see what happens is we become,
Apartment and looking
Really?
at
So
them.
she was like really looking.
Would they bust
She was
you if
looking
you
into
had,
her
like,
purse.
some
18 or 18, she
snacks?
must have been.
to go to a movie.
Like, what if you just have?
Yeah.
We
That's the
become
biggest thing.
Are they gonna take your
Accomplices.
popcorn and shit?
Oh, yeah, you
know?
can't
to
do
That's so gay.
more or less illegal
Consumerism.
search and seizure
Mhm.
to get into a movie.
Oh, boy.
So when you look at how
And there's
fascisms
that.
roll,
A purse with a false bottom.
they'll create
Take a mint.
false flag events or crises of violence or whatever, create fear and uncertainty, and then introduce the constituents to random, more or less illegal search and seizure.
And just
It's only
insane, like,
one small hop into your house.
identity checks.
Small hop.
And I mean, just to
Small
get
hop.
like a P.O. box today, I'm like, what do I need? Like, what if I didn't have a car or like a home, but I just wanted to get fucking mail? Like, you can't. It's not possible. You
Really?
gotta have, you gotta have all these credentials to get a P.O. box.
To get a P.O.
I'm
box.
like sitting there, like, I don't
Yeah.
get it. I'm so, what does this have to do with a P.O.
Right.
box?
Yeah, so 911 turned out to be very effective.
Mm.
Homeland Security, NSA, illegal surveillance, right? Search and seizure, militarization of the police, homicidal mania on the part of the police throughout the country. I mean, these things are over the top for a, quote, democratic society with a constitution and a Bill of Rights.
Well, that's essentially over.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, I know, it is over. Yeah,
You can perpetrate the myth that exists.
yeah, that's right. No, it's completely over. That's why it's good to have some like chocolate brittle between now and the day it all goes south. Mhm.
I had a brush with that, if you're interested in a little story. I went into deep debt to American Express
Yeah,
with a credit card.
yeah,
And I just said, fuck it, I'm not paying it. And I bankrupted the corporation.
right.
And fine with that. And they decided to come after me. And this, gave me a bad rap of my credit.
No, sure.
They did everything they could do. Had lawyer come out to be done to me all the time.
Yeah,
Took me to court and never showed up.
yeah, they even wanted your furniture.
So then, that's exactly right. So then one morning, you wouldn't believe it. We're having a DA meeting.
Yeah,
And I see a sheriff's car come by
yeah,
at 7 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
And two guys come up on my porch and knock on the door.
yeah. We were just having an attitude adjustment meeting, and here comes the sheriff.
And then they said they were here to take an inventory of my furnishing.
Yeah,
I said, oh, really? Well, who's the lawyer that put you up to this?
right.
And I think I gave him a call. Do you want to wait here? No, here's his name. You call him.
Right.
And they left.
They left, right.
And that was the end of it. And,
Why?
what?
Why did that dilute the situation? Why?
Because they didn't have a search warrant.
Yeah,
All they had is the threat of their uniform.
that's right. It's all they had.
They were intimidating. The purpose was to intimidate the hell of everything they did to try to get their money back.
Yeah,
You know, there's a corporate veil. There's a reason I filed and became corporation back in 1988.
yeah. The corporation was the one that borrowed the money from American
Borrow the money.
Express.
Go get the corporation.
That corporation's
I'm
dead.
really sorry, but it's disappeared.
Yeah.
It has no account, no possessions, nothing.
That corporation went bankrupt.
Right. What
Yeah.
are you going to collect?
Yeah,
So the challenge was to try to make me feel intimidated.
That's right.
Well, that's how a lot of it is, and it's interesting. Like, well, I don't know, I do a lot of the same shit. I'm like, I'm not paying that. People just are scared, and they think that's like not.
we're so,
And interestingly,
we're
a lot of
outlaws.
it's just kind of gone away. I'm like, well, I don't fucking know.
So I've not totally gone over the edge.
yeah,
If you can see what the difference is between a corporation and yourself. They would like you to believe there's no difference.
Corporations are people then.
I always find it a very entertaining juxtaposition from disembodied euphoria to spirited political commentary. I was like, cool. While we have the time, we may as well enjoy it.
Well, the drama it's a drama playing out
Oh, yeah.
based on the very thing we're unplugging
Yes.
in our perception of life.
Right.
And we have some characters that are taking it so seriously.
Hmm.
I don't really feel like there's actually any characters though, actually.
No, you don't know what the fuck's going on. That's why it's just kind of fun to. It's like, you know.
Including yourself?
I have, that is my belief. I don't experience it all the time, but that is my belief, including myself. No, I'm not a character. You know, I can't say that I experience that much, but there's been a couple moments, and I think that is actual, and the rest is not. You know.
You know, if I'm going to make trouble, you're really in trouble. You know how you can invent things on the web? You just make up shit and put it on
Sure.
and circulate it. What is
Yeah, it's
available
pretty
to
much like
circulate
everything.
is finding a hidden agreement, a document between the government of the United States and Mexico, that there's an agreement to never close the border, to allow Mexicans to bleed into the country. And every president gets straightened out about that.
Yeah.
Bush was allowed to build a little piece of fence. They stopped them from shooting them. You know, they wonder why the Border Patrol doesn't nail them and stop it. Because they have to bleed through so that the overpopulation of Mexico, of the underprivileged, and that they really lead a simple life. The ones that are coming over here.
It's an altruistic agreement?
What?
It's an altruistic agreement between the two countries?
Yeah, there's a hidden agreement so that
I
we,
thought that there was like a hidden alien influence or something.
Well, that's.
We haven't gotten to the aliens yet.
That's,
We're still talking domestic
that's the
politics.
next level, yeah.
Wait for the alien.
I've often thought of,
That's probably what's actually going on, but that's not what we're talking about yet.
watch it go crazy.
Oh, sure.
You just drive yourself insane being a human being in a world with all this
On a
insane
dime.
shit, and like it's just clear that none of it lines up, none of it makes any sense, all contradictory.
Yep.
It's all bullshit, but in a magnificent way.
Right.
It's just
Right. There's pizza.
entertaining. It's like really bizarrely entertaining.
You're aware that there's a alignment of the planets and the heavens in September that's beyond any astrologer's capacity to interpret.
Do you know how many people are talking about this?
Really?
Oh god, there's this
It's a
weird
new alignment?
channeling people, and it's just so funny.
No, it's a real
First
mess.
there
What are they
was-
referring to it as?
There's always some big event
Well, there's always a big event.
No.
just around the corner.
This one's bigger.
This
This
one's
one
the
is
one.
going to be bigger.
Yeah.
than
That
that one.
2012 thing
Well,
was
the
a bust, but
fucking
this one-
Mayans petered out, so we need.
That was
No,
a
they
bust.
didn't really peter out.
No, we just changed our story because it didn't look the way that we thought.
What
so
did
we
those
had to
Mayans
change it.
say?
Yeah.
It's occurring in September.
Oh, okay. So,
They lose.
and this event that's occurring in
what? Is it
September.
on my birthday?
What is your birthday?
The 13th.
Yeah,
No,
just
Good,
around
fine,
there,
Of course.
a little later.
Between the 23rd and the 28th.
I'm like, come on,
Is
give me
this
something.
something
It's
that
happening on the
NASA is
23rd.
saying is happening?
Oh, the Pope's coming. Oh, shit.
Oh, and the
27th is the
Pope's coming.
Pope, I think.
Scientific organization.
Oh, it's all
I hope it's
coinciding with the
something
Pope's
that
visit to
ends in
Philadelphia.
He'll probably get decapitated in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Oh,
That's
God,
what's
I
gonna
shudder
happen.
to think.
Yeah. I wouldn't come to Pennsylvania if I was him. I'll get killed.
So this is an astrological alignment.
Conundrum. Complexity beyond anybody's capacity to even
Sweet.
figure out what the hell's going on.
And this
Does it
is,
involve
this is
gamma
within
rays?
our so-called solar system?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
We're gonna be
okay.
gamma rayed.
Where could we read about this?
Well, it depends where you want to go. You know, you could go listen to some wacko channeler in Sedona, or you could
I'm
probably
in.
go to astrology.
Catherine knows
Sure,
that
there's
stuff.
lots of
She
other
can tell you where to
people.
go.
You could just Google search some weird shit.
Catherine.
So the predictions are
She'll give you a good
financial
place.
collapse,
Right. Yeah.
upheaval, melting of ice caps.
Whole new energy coming in.
Oh, I like
whole
that
new
stuff.
energy.
Oh, okay.
Whole new
Good telling
thing.
you.
Everybody's
Yeah.
just gonna wake the fuck up
Nice. And have a website.
and have a website to tell everybody.
We'll all
about.
wake up and have a website to solicit other people into our thing, but everyone else will be awake, so they won't care. Commerce will come to a screeching halt.
Be aware if you have bodily sensations.
Yeah. That's right. It'll be the proliferation of enlightenment websites.
The Mayans understood the passage through the plane of the galaxy.
Uh-huh, right?
They thought that that might be consequential, but it looks like it's taken a while. They were having passed through the plane of the galaxy
Right, right.
for enough other shit to realign.
I see. Yes.
No different than the dinosaurs going out and all other shit, calamities. They
Yeah, that's right.
have nothing to do with it.
No.
It's
No,
just
and
occurring.
apparently they were gamma rays. Who would have thought it wasn't actually just gamma rays?
So,
What? There wasn't an asteroid?
There was gamma rays.
Oh. From a extra solar event. A
Aliens.
coronal mass
Could just
ejection?
be-
yeah,
Uh-huh. All right.
any one of a number of possibilities.
Yeah, aliens.
Really.
Giant being farting is coronal
I like
mass
that.
ejection.
Yeah.
Methane.
Methane.
I have a question.
Giant entity ate some beans.
Anything to get us off this track.
Had a coronal mass ejection.
Well, it's a,
wait. We're waiting for
Well,
Pat's
see,
question.
You know, I don't even know how to say it, so, but
Please, just make it up.
if, in fact,
Yes,
there is, we're gonna call it only this moment,
right.
and in this moment
No,
is everything that might have ever happened,
right.
everything that might actually be happening,
Yeah,
and everything that might actually ever happen.
yeah,
Saying that any of that's true,
right.
but if anything ever did happen, will happen, or is happening,
Yeah.
it is here.
Here,
So
yeah,
how do you say that something's happening if
yeah,
it's the whole bowl of wax? Boom.
yeah. You
You
don't.
know what I mean?
You
It's
don't. Yeah, nothing's happening. That's why the fucking Tibetans are like, hey, nothing ever happened.
That's why you just
No.
spew bullshit
Yeah, not just the Tibetans.
and eat
You know,
snacks.
I mean, the people in the know,
Mhm.
people in the know will go, nothing's happening.
Maybe that's why monks bow.
Yeah, monks bow a lot, which is just a way of saying, is something happening to you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if something's happening to you, but nothing's happening to me. Really. I'm sorry for your loss if something's happening to you.
It's actually just another version of giving someone the finger. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
of
Right.
yours,
That's right.
you too.
Say you, say me.
Sugar.
Well, you know, the poignancy of past, of present, of future, of occurrences, of inventory, of possibility. You see, all of these are conjured, right, as apparently separable demarcations in imagination. Which is how what we call the brain, who knows what it is, takes raw data, raw sensorium, and is able to create a three-dimensional, highly pixelated projection of objects outside yourself. That appear to have individuated durability, temporal durability. Yeah. And that you could come back to a room that you swear you've been in before certainly makes it feel like, yeah, this room's here when I'm not here,
Right.
and it's here when I
Come back in.
come here. But it's not. Right? Because this room being here when you're not here, that's imagination. And we can't really prove whether it is or it isn't, because if you're not here, did the tree make a sound when it fell in the forest, you know, or does a bear wipe its ass with a squirrel? It's the same. So what is it that's even present now that demands or insists upon our loyalty or fealty, that we're having a subjective experience of an objective world that's independent of us as a creature? That's fabricated. What we call brain, though who knows what it is, can juxtapose with raw radiant information, data, and whoop, create with no effort at all the appearance of an independently existing three-dimensional temporal and spatial plenum other than you, outside of you, with which you can interact through choice, decision-making, discernment, locomotion.
Mhm.
But that's
And you can tack meaning onto it.
and that upon which you can tack incredible amounts of meaning. That's right.
A life well lived.
That's right. Yeah. You've got donkey tails pinned all over the place. Assigning meaning.
So the question now for me, like, we couldn't really say that there's actually a brain that is creating, or the mind that is creating from, let's say, the patterns.
Right.
Like, we don't really even know that.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
We just know we talk about a brain,
Yeah,
or we think we talk about a brain.
yeah.
And
I mean,
patterns.
The neurobiologists, to their credit, would like to take spiritual gibberish off the table, because if they do something physically to your brain, the quality of your experience can and will change, dramatically. So then it appears as if the tangibility of what we call human conformist reality is dependent upon, right, the functioning of the brain. Because if you mess with the brain, all hell can break loose.
Well, that's what we're looking at in our culture.
Yes,
The drugs and the prescriptions.
absolutely.
Coming up one after another.
Yeah, the vaccines.
I mean, there's no sane terms when a guy is pissed off somebody distant
Yeah,
in a TV station.
yeah,
He's going to kill a couple of people. That's not a normal functioning brain.
yeah, no,
That's been totally abused.
yes,
Messed with.
right, yes, yep. Microwave superheating of the police
Yes.
is being held responsible by some parties for aggressive militarization and homicidal mania. Yeah, because exposure to high density or even low energy microwaves heats up the tissue
Uh-huh.
in girls, not women, but more in girls that are exposed to Wi-Fi in schools. There's plenty of evidence suggesting that it's interfering with their DNA, with their eggs, with their capacity to deliver healthy offspring.
Jeff, you're like the Alex Jones.
I'm like Alex Jones.
Insert it.
I know. I want to be like some kind of enlightened Alex Jones. I'm not sure which will come first,
They have
but
to look.
what?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
it.
All right. I can give it up. You can go from point to point, in so-called conspiracy or remarkable evidence to remarkable evidence. And, what do we get to? This is, one surreal experiment going on.
Yeah, and everybody's got a good point.
And everyone's got a
Or
good
bad
point. Yeah,
There's really nobody,
yeah. Yeah,
What I feel like when I have my deepest moments, shall we say,
yes,
is I feel a profound aloneness.
nice.
And that is,
Yeah.
there is the benefit of others,
Yeah,
because that's like,
yeah, yeah. The aloneness, is both delicious and, maddening, right? Perplexing and very fascinating and curious. But the aloneness, of course, has to be a symptom of some remnant or remaining interest or investment in creaturehood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because alone has to be individuated to some degree for it to be alone.
has to have a concept
Yeah,
in it.
it has to. It has to. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not putting anyone up or down or in between. But when you look at the geometry of this, overwhelming sometimes aloneness, there has to be anthropomorphization for it to be felt as alone. There has to be some level of creature still brewing in the plenum of consciousness for it to be alone. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that, it doesn't suggest that a so-called awakened person would thrive in isolation.
They've been known to do that.
And yet, right, there's cultures of renunciates, but even amongst so many renunciate orders, they are together in their renunciation.
Yeah, they end up
It's-
just making another band of weirdos anyway.
yeah, I mean, there's relatively few, yogis and yoginis, depending on the culture, that go into extended isolation.
Well, I feel like, I mean, not that you can say anything about anything, but if I could report on my experience, it's like I was sort of turning that into something again in some way.
Uh-huh.
And it was like another deferral mechanism
Oh, yeah.
of like, there's other people and they don't get it. And I can't I have to like stay separate from them in some way. But that's not the case at all. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can make art with them in the whole mess of it all. And
Sure.
it doesn't have to be like a total, like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with
Right.
people.
Yeah. I mean, I can get, easily bored primarily by myself, bored with myself, or certainly get bored of what we might call, typical human chatter,
Sure.
Mhm. I've seen that happen to you.
Yeah, it's like,
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
Well, but it depends also, like, so this is more reporting, but I just am, all these bizarre experiences are coming back to where, and actually a lot of times you're the one that helps me see this. I'm taking it to be me hanging out with the person and it seems really boring and kind of annoying, whatever's going on,
right.
but I'm creating that. And then the other way of seeing it is there's another way of sensing that, of feeling it come through. It's never actually about personhood. It's never actually about humanhood.
No.
That's the key. It's like, it's never, I keep making it into that. I keep turning it into that
Uh-huh.
and making it like
Right.
simple and boring and stupid and
Yeah.
these fucking people, like this story that I'm creating.
Yeah. There is
But there's something a lot stranger than that going on, like all the time.
well, always, yeah. There always has to be.
Even
you-
just the words, the way you're interpreting the whole thing is.
Can we say as a certain quality of consciousness becomes conscious, right? And that's an unfettered availability. That's truly a disembodied euphoria. Well, you'd be an idiot not to want that to remain unperturbed. If you're like, oh my God, this is like the shit.
Well, it's like it's like having a great like orgasmic moment. You're
Absolutely.
like, no. Someone's like, excuse me.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, you could say your natural inclination as if you're biologic at all is to just not be perturbed.
Hold.
You're like,
Pause.
put everything on pause. I mean, any intelligent organism, whether it's single celled or whatever, they move toward and they move away from, right? Depending on incredible factors of nourishment or not nourishment. If you're grooving on disembodied euphoria, there's a quality of absolute unperturbedness in this awake, in this presence, in this awareness. It's not perturbed. And you like it. You hang, you immerse. You don't want to have to be, let's say, defending yourself, against you as the worst idiot you know. Or someone else, it might be the worst idiot that you know. Really. So naturally, you will withdraw from distraction, from distortion.
And that infers a preference to me,
Yes?
which, I don't know. I don't know if there would be one, but I ain't going there and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Just-
Yeah. Well, it's like anything, if you're hungry, you eat. If you got to pee, you find a place to do that.
Mhm.
You might naturally, not indulge in distortion. And that might mean removing yourself from a room, from a conversation, from a movie, from whatever.
Well, you end up fucking here, you know?
Yeah, you end up here. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I was like thinking, I'm like, oh, the cute old people that rent the place out to me probably think I'm like going out.
Oh, she's got a date, honey. Look how nice she looks.
She's got a date.
Yeah, little do they know.
No, she's just going to the children's room at Pebble Hill Church. She's just going to the children's
Like it's
room.
Thursday night. I'm
Yeah.
like, they probably think I'm like, I have a life.
It's like a PTA meeting.
Yeah. No, for some odd reason, I just go to this weird group that's totally undescribable. And yeah.
That's right.
Here's another thing that I have wondered about, and I have no idea. So you can take up philosophies, various and many, and people believe them, and so then they see evidence of its veracity.
Yeah.
Well, how do I know that I am not believing this shit, and that's why I'm seeing evidence of its veracity?
Yeah. I love it.
Same thing, right?
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. You are the only one that could know. You're alone with, right, the nuance of your present experience, and whether it is hinged or unhinged, or whether it's the result of something or not.
But I could say the same thing at other times in other, what would you say, groups
People do.
that I've seen evidence that I can't say proves the current belief,
Yeah,
I mean, I felt like I felt things,
sure.
in church and
And you did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like maybe this is just more of that.
Time will tell. See you.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Later, dude.
Time will tell.
With the way it is though, because it builds and builds and builds, everything that is behind you, you really forget it. It's like,
Yeah.
so I could say that it could be correct and I could still find it to be untrue. If you, based on progressions.
There's no limit on how this.
Nothing's happening. It's like, once again, nothing happened. Just nothing happened.
Yeah, really. Once again, nothing happened. Nor
I
were.
thought something happened. It was really close, but
That
actually,
was my bad.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my bad. I thought something happened. Once again, nothing happened. Nor were you.
Exactly. I held on to something. Damn. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I just
I
meant the way
guess.
you're like flip flopping
But-
around. It's
but
like that's
no.
like the like you think something happened and then like the next minute you're like it's something else and you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah, you can't hold on to anything.
No.
Is this cannabis on that purse?
No,
It's
I don't
cute.
know what it is.
I see.
These people that I hate, they're like the worst customers ever for dog sitting.
Oh.
Left me
That's why you
this
get pulled over.
very cute purse.
Sorry.